It's not even 5 o'clock yet, but it's already insanely dark outside, so I have a suspicion that there must be... Yep, I just saw thunder, so there is indeed a storm coming. But I still wanted to sit down and do this video for you guys. I just really hope it's not going to be too dark, but anyway, the show must go on. And today we're going to be doing a video that I have been doing for the past couple of years, discussing some popular luxury items that I no longer buy. Now, that's either because my personal style has changed, which it has changed quite a bit, or because I already have enough of these things in my collection, and no matter how much I love having them, I do not need to buy any more because my collection is already quite repetitive, which is just the way I like it. I personally am a big believer in uniform dressing, so it's not the end of the world, but I feel like I could rechannel my budget into other pieces that would make my collection a lot more diverse. So if you'd like to see what popular luxury items I will not be unboxing in 2023, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and keep on watching. A little bit of a weather update. At this point, it's pouring down so hard that I cannot see the building next door. So if you can hear some rain or some thunder going on in the background, I do apologize, but we have a lot to get through and I have no time to waste. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. And the first piece that I wanted to discuss here is something that I know I mentioned before. I know I have told you guys that I am trying not to buy any more SLGs, but today I wanted to be a little bit more specific because of a personal experience. Not really an experience, more like a revelation. And that is because I feel like SLGs can feel like... I want to use the word scam, but that might be an overstatement. Let me explain to you what I mean by this. So let's say you are trying to save up for the bag of your dreams, which is, let's say, a Picotin or a Chanel 2.55. You're trying to save up for that bag, or you're trying to figure out what color or what leather to opt for, and you're not quite ready to pull the trigger. What most people will do is they will go into the boutique every now and again, they'll have a browse, they'll ask if the bag is available, and even if it is, but they're not ready to pull the trigger, they will not want to leave empty-handed, so they'll try to find the closest thing that is a little bit more attainable and that is easier to justify. So they'll pick up a piece of SIG, perhaps in a similar design, a similar leather, or in a similar color. And if you keep repeating that, you can end up with quite the collection of SIGs, which, don't get me wrong, are great pieces to have, but they will not feel the same as owning the bag that you wanted all along. Not to mention that how many SIGs do you really need? I mean, realistically speaking, you can only really use a card holder and a wallet at the same time, and it's not like you're going to change out your wallets and card holders that often. I know some people do. I know that some people are crazy about their SIG collection, and if it's something that brings you joy, of course, continue buying them. But personally, if you are trying to be a more conscious consumer, I think SLGs are the first thing that you can stop buying, not only to save a ton of money, but also to free up space in your own collection, because you genuinely don't need that many SLGs. They are pieces that are hidden inside your bag anyway, so you're not going to get that much of a statement with these pieces. I feel like the two pieces that you, not that you need, but the two pieces that are great to have are a small card holder, something slim and compact, something that you can just put in your pocket, or if you're carrying a smaller bag, it is something that can hold all your essentials. And then having a larger wallet in your collection, something that you can perhaps also use as a clutch bag or a little pochette on its own. That's really all you need in your collection, and having those in different colors, trust me, will not make that much of a difference. So for me, SIGs are one thing that I am not currently buying any more of. Specifically card holders, even though they are things that I love, I have way more card holders than I actually need. Not to mention that, try to think about this, how often do you actually reach for card holders at this point? I feel like I have not used a physical card in ages. I mean, it's been at least a couple of months, and I know this because I did buy a card holder from Loro Piana, just because the one that I used from Hermes for years, it was time to retire that one. So I did buy a new card holder from Loro Piana, which I could not wait to start using. But I have to be honest with you, I have been moving it from one bag into another, and I am yet to find a chance to actually use it properly, because I am basically using Apple Pay to pay for almost everything these days. It doesn't matter if you go to a bodega, if you go to a grocery store, or if you go shopping at Hermes. Pretty much everyone accepts Apple Pay at this point. So I cannot remember the last time I actually handled a card holder, and I was thinking about picking up a new Calvi from Hermes because I did go through a little bit of a love affair with Calvis a few years ago. I went through a phase of buying them in a ton of different colors and leathers, and Hermes has been launching them in some new exotic skins. They have recently done the Calvi in lizard, and they have also brought them back in ostrich, which is something that they do every once in a while, but more recently I have been seeing some new shades in ostrich, and I have to be honest with you, I have been extremely tempted, but it would be such a waste of money because I have this gorgeous card holder from Loro Piana. I do have another card holder from Hermes in exotic skin that I am yet to use, and I simply don't have the chance to do so. So I would say that SLGs in general, but especially card holders, are something that we really don't have as much of a need for as we use. The next pieces that I personally will not be buying are loafers, and that's because I have never found a pair of loafers that I felt really suits me. I have a feeling, I don't know why that is, but I just really don't think that pointy shoes suit me, and most loafers tend to be a little bit more pointy. I do have some loafers from Hermes. I have the Paris loafers in all black, and then I also have the Saga loafers, which are definitely more on the casual side, so I feel like I can get away with those. But when it comes to traditional formal loafers, first of all, I just don't have that many occasions to wear them to, which, I mean, I do wear tailoring pieces. I wear tailoring pants quite often, but I tend to prefer them with a pair of white sneakers, and I just really don't think that pointy shoes suit me, suit my proportions, suit my aesthetic, and the type of pants that I wear, which is probably because I often wear skinny jeans or more tapered tailoring pants, which just don't look the best with pointy shoes, and I don't want to be vulgar, but I feel like they often make me look like a gentleman who rents out girls and boys by the hour, which I think you know what I mean. I don't think that it is the most flattering on me, and as great as they look on some people, I'm not saying that everyone should stop buying loafers, but personally they are just simply not the style of shoes that I prefer. I am a sneaker guy through and through. I am going to continue buying white sneakers because those are the things that I truly reach for. I don't think there's a luxury brand out there, or at least not a luxury brand that's on my radar, that I haven't bought a logo t-shirt from, which I stopped doing that, I want to say a year or two ago, but I did go through a phase of buying logo t-shirts every single season from different brands, which I just feel like don't really suit me. I no longer want to look like a billboard for really any brand out there, even if it's my most favorite brand. At this point, I much prefer to buy designer t-shirts that have no logos, no patterns, no prints. I do have quite an extensive collection of black t-shirts. I do love my simple black t-shirts, and I really enjoy buying them from designer brands just because the fabrics tend to be a lot softer, they tend to be longer lasting. I do like the fits a lot more, and if you buy something that's made of a nicer fabric, you know it's going to last a lot longer. So my favorite brands and my go-tos for black t-shirts are Prada. I do love Prada black t-shirts, and a brand that is quite new to me, and they're not necessarily a luxury brand. I mean, they're definitely a little bit more high-end. They're not fast fashion, but a brand that does amazing quality black t-shirts is Philippe Paquet. So if you haven't explored their t-shirts, they're definitely a brand that I will link down below for you, because they do these really cool slim fit t-shirts that I have been living in. So I prefer simple, plain, solid color t-shirts over the ones that have any sort of logo or branding on them. They're just simply not my taste and my aesthetic anymore. So the pieces that I do have, some of them I try to retailor and tweak to make them feel a little bit more contemporary and a little bit more me. But at this point, I really only wear them around the house. And while this is not technically a logo, this also includes the seasonal Hermes t-shirts, which I bought every single season religiously for the past, I don't even know, 5, 6, maybe even 7 years, which Hermes they still do these t-shirts every single season that is inspired by the theme of the year. In case you were not aware, Hermes has an overarching theme every single year that influences everything that they do, from their collections through their window displays all the way to the actual ribbons that they use on their packaging. And these themes also inspire seasonal prints for t-shirts and sweaters, which I will no longer buy for a few reasons. Number one, they have almost doubled in price since I started buying them. The quality is not what it used to be. The quality of these t-shirts used to be just exquisite. They used to be made of these really soft, almost silk-like cotton fabrics that had a beautiful sheen to them, which is no longer the case. And the sizing is kind of all over the place. Some seasons I have to buy them in a medium, some seasons I have to buy them in an extra small, others I'm a small, so I cannot keep up. Not to mention that these prints I don't feel really suit me anymore. They tend to overwhelm me in a weird way. I just prefer a simple plain black or white t-shirt, which I feel looks a lot more timeless, a lot more clean, and a lot more put together. These fun quirky t-shirts are just simply not my aesthetic anymore, and I feel like it is something that I need to leave in the past. One of my biggest weakness is sale shopping and going to outlets, which is not something that I included in previous videos before, because I always felt that, sale shopping is the way to go. You're actually saving money by spending money, which I'm realizing is really not the case. Now, I'm not saying that I will never ever buy anything in an outlet or on sale, but I will strictly exclusively buy pieces that are already on my wish list. I am a big believer of having a wish list. If you want to know more about how I create my wish list, what my process is, I will make sure to have a video linked up here for you. So what I am going to do from now on, and what I have been doing actually this past year, is that I'm only going to buy things that are already on my wish list. And if those pieces happen to go on sale, great, I can get them faster with a little bit of a saving. But I am not going to buy things purely because they are on sale. If it's a piece that I would not be willing to buy full price, I'm not going to buy it just because it's on sale. I'm not going to give into the FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's great that it's on sale, but if it's not something that I would buy full price, or I would consider buying if it was full price, it should be just simply left on the rack. Some things that I definitely went overboard with when I first got Pi was luxury dog accessories. So I obviously bought him everything that Hermes had at the time for pets except the dog bowls, because I had already known that they were not the best quality. But I bought him a collar, a leash. I bought him, I think, a flying disc or a frisbee. I bought him shampoo, conditioner from Hermes, and I pretty much stopped using all of those things except the collars. So I would say that collars I would buy again, probably not from Hermes, because I have not been the happiest with the quality. So I guess I could see myself buying collars, and maybe if you have a pet small enough to fit into a carrier, you could always buy a pet carrier, because that's basically like buying a bag, but I really would not buy anything else, especially not from Hermes. I think it kind of feels like these rose-colored glasses fell off my face when I went to pick up the raincoat for him. So Hermes has been expanding their pet line, and more recently they came out with a line of raincoats, which I did order. I went to buy it and I was shocked by the quality. It was basically, I think it was like $800 or $900 for the raincoat in his size, and it was a single sheet of plastic, and it is not the kind of plastic you would expect to see from a luxury house. It was not comparable to, let's say, Prada's nylon pieces. It was insanely underwhelming. It was flimsy. There were no details. There wasn't even a single piece of hardware. So that was extremely disappointing, and it made me realize how underwhelming this entire pack collection from Hermes is. Since then, they have come out with chew toys. I think they're also doing, what else are they doing now? They're also doing like a little pet bag that you can put your dog's treats and waste bags into, which are really just not the most sophisticated designs, especially not for the kind of prices they charge. So I would say that pet accessories are not the best use of your money, which you might be like, gee, wow, that's not anything new to us, but for me that was a big revelation this year. I am not going to be buying him any more luxury pet accessories except colors, which it is time for me to get him a new color. I looked at the one from Dior, but Pi is not really a Dior kind of guy, so I am leaning towards getting the one from Goyard, which, let's be honest, I am buying these things more for myself than for him, because I could buy something for a fraction of the price that would be a lot easier to maintain, a lot easier to clean, because let's be honest, he quite literally drags these things through the mud. He goes swimming, he does not care about them, and I cannot care about them either when I'm trying to keep him safe. So I could buy something that would be a lot more practical and a lot more user friendly for a fraction of the price, but I do want to treat him to something, and since I cannot buy him a dog carrier, I'm probably gonna get him a color at one point, but other than that, there are going to be no more luxury pet accessories that I am going to be wasting my money on. And speaking of wasting money, something that I wasted a ton of money on, and it definitely didn't feel like it while I was doing it, but it did add up over time, is luxury skincare. I feel like luxury skincare to me is what SLGs are for a lot of people. They feel more attainable, they feel like a little treat, but as I mentioned, if you continue treating yourself to these little things, they do add up. And I remember when I was in college and when I was first working in New York, anytime I had a bad day, I would stop by Sephora. I lived really close to Barney's in Chelsea. I would stop by the Barney's beauty department and I would buy myself a new fragrance, a new candle, or a new skincare item. And by the end of, I think by the end of 2020, when I was moving, my medicine cabinet was so full of skincare that it was literally bursting open. And I had to realize that luxury skincare is not something that I should continue buying, especially because when it comes to skincare, consistency is key. It is so important that you're consistent with your skincare, and you can only really see results from a product if you continue using it long term. So it's good to stick with a routine and try to use certain things to address certain concerns. So I have a really strict routine at this point, and while I'm still tempted every once in a while to try something new, I try to resist that temptation because I am pretty happy with my current skincare routine. I'm happy with the products that I already use, and I will switch things up still, especially if I run out of something, but I am no longer buying new cleansers every single day, new moisturizers and new serums, unless I actually have the need for a new one. And if you're interested in what products I use on my skin, I can have my skincare routine linked down below for you, and you can explore what are the things that I use, which I think you will find really helpful if you have dry, sensitive skin, because my main area of concern is sensitivity and redness. So for me, luxury skincare was something that I had to give up on, which was, I have to admit, hard to do because it was a little treat that I got so accustomed to. But at this point, I will only buy myself new pieces of skincare if I actually have a gap in my routine or a gap in my range. If I want to try and test something new, I will wait until I run out of the things that I already have going in my rotation. I probably should have included these with the branded t-shirts because they are kind of a similar idea. But another thing that I will not be buying is any sort of designer home accessories that have a clear, obvious branding to them. So here I'm talking about things like the Avalon blankets and pillows from Hermes, even blankets from Loewe or Fendi. Now I don't want to spend too much time talking about these pieces because I did just share my thoughts on the Hermes Avalon range and why I don't think they're worth your hard-earned money in my last video. So if you have not seen that, make sure to have it linked up here for you. But long story short, I just really don't think that these pieces are what your home needs. Your home needs to be an extension of yourself rather than a billboard for any luxury brand out there, even if it's your favorite luxury brand. I really don't think that any one of these pieces add that much to your home rather than them just showing that, hey, you can walk into a luxury store and drop thousands of dollars on a simple blanket or a pillow. I have not seen any branded pieces that had a unique texture to them, that had beautiful colors that I felt would really accessorize and elevate your home. So for me, these are not things that I will be spending my money on. I have to be honest with you, this next piece was insanely hard for me to talk myself out of buying, because I was tempted by this piece for quite a while, at least until I had a chance to see it for myself in person. The main reason I didn't buy it is because it was extremely small, and the piece that I'm talking about here is the Hermes RMS suitcase. So I was really underwhelmed by how small this suitcase was, which I think Hermes says that you should in theory be able to fit 72 hours worth of things in one of these suitcases, which is just not the case in my opinion, at least not the way I pack. So for me, that was one thing that put me off of buying it. And then the other thing was how delicate these suitcases are. So in general, I would say that I am not going to be buying designer suitcases other than suitcases and luggages from Remova, which are quite expensive, but I think, well, I don't think, I know that they will last a really long time. But when it comes to these high-end suitcases from Hermes or Louis Vuitton, as cool as some of them are, they are just a huge waste of money. Suitcases are extremely hard to look after, and if you don't exclusively fly private, they are not the best use of your money. You're much better off buying yourself a nice tote bag which you can look after than spending money on a suitcase that you're going to have to put in the overhead bin, that you're going to be lugging around the airport, you're going to have to put it through security, you're going to be banging it against things, you're going to go in and out of it, you're going to probably have things leaking in your suitcase, or maybe it's just me, but I feel like spending over $1,000 or $1,500 on a suitcase is just kind of ridiculous, especially if they are made of leather or canvas, something that is quite delicate and hard to look after. They're going to look too aged too fast to justify the price. And last but not least, I can't believe that I am mentioning these pieces in this video, pieces that I will no longer buy, but when it comes to Hermes's holy trinity of bags, I feel like those are pieces that I do need to take a break from. So here I'm talking about the Birkin, the Kelly, and the Constance, which is crazy that I'm saying this because I feel like a lot of you guys know me for my love of Hermes and Hermes bags, which has not changed. I will not stop reviewing Hermes bags and Hermes pieces, but when it comes to my personal collection, I feel like Hermes Birkins, Kellys, and Constances have kind of become ubiquitous at this point. They're overexposed. You see so much of them online that they have lost their charm. Now, I do still love the pieces that I have because to me they are so, I mean, the craftsmanship is just impeccable, and I have not found another brand whose quality is as outstanding as Hermes is. But that doesn't mean that I am reaching for my more popular Hermes bags. I mean, I have to say this, but across the board, all my mini bags have been put in storage, not traditional storage, but where I keep my more precious pieces that I am not currently using. And I really don't miss them. I don't know if it's just me, my lifestyle, the way I am changing, but I am no longer reaching for small bags, which is kind of crazy because there was a point in time I didn't carry anything else but my mini Kellys, and I cannot tell you the last time I carried one out. It is just the new me, and I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing. I guess my credit card is not complaining, but that's where I'm at. And this is not to say that I won't buy any more Hermes bags full stop, because Hermes has a lot more to offer than just their Birkins, Kellys, and Constances. So if I was offered something really special, really unique, of course I would say yes to it. But when it comes to their traditional bags, I feel like at this point I just need a little bit of a breather. They are not bags that I'm really reaching for. I am appreciating and enjoying my more understated, under the radar bags, which I don't think you'll be surprised by. I cannot wait to read in the comment section what are the luxury pieces that you no longer buy. Please let me know, and while you're down there, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. I really appreciate you being here and watching, and I will see you back here with a new video really soon.